We're now live. Okay. We have to get so close to fit. This is actually not okay. Okay, so today, guys, we're going to go over city resources and useful websites that you can use. Hey! So useful websites and resources online to help you navigate the world of zoning and permitting in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the first one is pretty important. Let's talk about the Atlas.
Yeah, that's our favorite. The Atlas
right
is
in.
the holy grail of city resources. Can you guys hear us okay? I know last time we had some
Speak
trouble.
up. Yeah.
So let us know if we need to get louder. So Atlas,
Yeah.
Liz, you want to jump in?
Sure. Okay. So there's like four main things that Atlas displays for you. All you have to do is type in the address. The first thing is the property assessments. It gives you a list of like the sale date and the price and who the owner is. It also gives you
as loud as possible. Just yell.
Okay. So after property assessments, it comes the deeds. So that gives you all the deeds from the property from previous owners, current owner.
We'll publish it later.
Yeah. Also gives you license and inspections. That's all the permits that that property has, any violations it has.
Yeah, this is super useful because permits stick with properties. So even if you haven't filed a permit, maybe a previous owner has obtained a permit for something, so that stays attached to the property and you can access it online using the Atlas, searching for the address.
Okay, and then also something that it has is a nearby sort of tab, and that is just any recent activity in the area. You can look up crimes, any zoning appeals that are in properties nearby. Yeah. Any other things?
That's very useful.
Yeah.
Not
Is it
necessarily for
maybe
permits,
for a
information.
homeowner.
If you're gonna file, if you're planning on doing a variance or buying a property, and you're not sure like how it's zoned or how you can use it, this is how we assess everything before we start a new project. This is where we get all of our information. Hi.
Yeah.
What else is on that tab?
For the nearby?
No, what else is in the Atlas?
Oh, in Atlas?
Yeah.
You can also do Street View in Atlas, which might be helpful, just to get like an idea of the area.
So to recap, it's property assessment, the owner, previous owners, sale price,
sale dates,
lot size, which is used to calculate if you want to convert single family to multifamily, you have to have a certain amount of space in the lot to accommodate, to determine how many units you can accommodate, and this is all obviously because there's dependent on the fact that you have zoning for multifamily.
Yeah, and there's a minimum requirement, obviously, for square footage for units. So
per unit, it's 650-ish square feet. So property assessment,
deeds. License and inspections.
Licenses and inspections, which is all the permits and violations. Make sure there are no outstanding violations. If the permit matches how you're using the property, and if it doesn't match, obviously address that. File a new permit.
And then nearby. Maybe isn't quite so useful for, like we said, for getting a permit, but it is interesting.
The main one that is really useful is zoning. The zoning tab is what color codes the map and tells you, is it CMX3, is it residential multifamily RM, and from there you can click into American Legal's database and actually search the rubric of what is allowed as of by right, or what is a special exception, or what requires a variance, and that is actually what the city uses to evaluate an application. So being able to navigate that tool is incredibly helpful. Just gives you a certain level of confidence when you go down to ask for something from L&I.
And it's possible that they might in their additional information say the reason why they need you to attach something will be in that legal.
Whatever code whatever they cite in their either refusal letter or letter for additional information, you can actually look up in the code and read for yourself so that
what
you
the
understand
city has to say,
what it is, whether it's for a regulating use or if it's actually a dimensional code, like if you need a certain setback or open air requirement or height requirements. You can find that all there, and you can check those in reference to your architect's plans before you submit, which can be really helpful and help you avoid additional information or just at least prepare you for what you have to expect if it's going to be something that's allowed by right or if it's going to require a special approval variance process. That's our favorite resource that we use pretty much every day, every project.
Yep. Let's move on. A quick one is going to be the zoning calendar, which is useful to find the date, time, and address of your hearing. Yeah, and the appeal number as well. That's something that you'll need, and you'll be able to find on there on the zoning calendar.
Yeah, so we're going to post on our blog this week. We'll have links and descriptions to all of the resources that we are covering in this live. Zoning calendar, you see everything that it gives you a summary of the refusal, the date of your scheduled hearing, the time of your hearing, and the calendar number, which is basically everything you need to know
for your hearing
to get to your
hearing.
It's
important.
And so if you don't know, the zoning hearing is if you obviously are doing something that is not allowed by right. Okay. You have to go through a zoning variance process, and the final hurdle of that process is the hearing in front of the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and they listen to your project description and they evaluate your support or the concerns from the community, and they will grant you your exception for your project, or they will make some kind of compromise for you, and whatever the decision is, you take that notice of decision to L&I, and they will process your permit if you're approved.
All right, moving on, we have the Office of Property Assessment website, which is super useful, I think, for both us getting permits.
Hey, Loco Lex.
Also, for homeowners too, I think, because there's a lot of good information on there regarding just trash pickup, recycling days.
I really recommend this for anyone who's contemplating buying a property or who works in real estate. I think that if you don't know about it already, it's a really useful tool that could give you all of the information that you probably want to tell a prospective buyer or want to know as a prospective buyer.
The council person, the schools, elementary, middle, and high school that if you had a kid would be attending.
I think, also in the previous sale prices and previous sales, so you can see how many times it's been bought and sold over like the last 10 or 15 years, if it's appreciated in value. But it obviously doesn't cover as much as what we like to see in Atlas, but it is a good resource. And the main reason we use this is anytime you file an application with the city, they are going to verify that the owner you list is the same as the owner listed in the Office of Property Assessment. The other time that the Office of Property Assessment is really important is if you are filing any kind of lot line relocation, whether it's a consolidation or a subdivision, your parcel numbers will change. So there is a particular number that is associated with that parcel of land. And if you subdivide it, you'll get 2 new parcel numbers from the Office of Property Assessment. And if you consolidate, you'll get 1 new number for it wherever the survey indicates the property lines now are. So that's all found there. It can also be useful if you are pulling a tax certification for the Zoning Board of Adjustment and you have a weird property that has a dash number or it's a unit in a building. It's probably best to just use the parcel number and the OBA parcel number to search for your tax compliance certification. And that's actually, we could just skip right to, I don't think that's a resource on the list. If you need a tax certificate, you can, instead of going down to the Department of Revenue and actually pulling one from them, you can find it online. So it just search tax compliance. Obviously, we're going to link to all of this. But if you search tax compliance, you can choose. There's a drop-down menu. If you are pulling, if you're obtaining a variance from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, you need a Zoning Board tax certification. If you're pulling a permit, you need permits and licenses tax certification. If you are doing something else, like you just need your vendor contractor license. Those are typically the 3 pull drop-down categories of tax compliance that we work with. And they ask you for various credentials in order to check your compliance.
It's important to know that you're tax compliant before you do anything.
Yeah, if you're not compliant, it's usually not super hard to fix. Call the Department of Revenue, go down there, and they can print you out a case file, tell you what's up, what accounts have been paid, and what you still owe in order to become compliant. And that is essential before you go to your zoning hearing, that you are tax compliant.
All right. Another source, the permit tracker, which is something that we work with.
Are we still live? Excuse me. I think it's actually going this half four. I'm gonna check.
Okay, good.
All right,
so
keep going.
The permit tracker, it just is a way to track your license inspection permit applications to see where they are, if they're in review, if
So how do you track it though?
you need your application number.
We're still on.
We're still on.
Just can't see ourselves.
Yeah,
You get an application number when you file your application, and you use that to search for your application status. If Elena is listening, you should add the plans examiner and their contact information to this tracker, because that would be incredibly
super
helpful.
Yeah. Just so you're aware of who
Because
it is that's reviewing your work.
Yeah, if you ever want to get something done, or you have a question, or you just want to know information about the status of your application, you need to contact the examiner. And unfortunately, they don't have a great system to give you access to that person. You kind of just have to wait till they reach out to you. But yeah, you can find out when the due date is of your latest review, just to make sure that everything is on track, and make sure that they have received additional information. Make sure that date is correct
for you, so you know when the latest possible.
And sometimes they do miss dates. So if it ever goes beyond the date of the latest review, you can reach out to Elle and I through the 311 help and say, "Hey, where's my application? What's going on?" And they'll usually get back to you within a day. They're pretty on top of it.
Okay.
Anything else? All of our. I think that's a pretty good overview, and like we said, we're gonna post this week in our blog will be a list of all of these links and a little bit of a description of what can be found on these and how to use them and how they relate to whatever kind of projects you might be up to. If anyone has any questions, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, we're just gonna keep doing little weekly topics for you guys. Don't want to overwhelm you.
Yeah, maybe things that are more specific, like resources.
Will you also save the video? Yes, we'll save the video.
Yeah. All right.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks for coming.